the development, economic and the democratic development that Korea has made over the past 60 years. That was the first point. Second point, the stark difference between South and North Korea. That was the second point. Third, the issue of unification between South and North Korea. That was the third point. Fourth, the issue of energy portfolio. How we could be managing the energy portfolio was the fourth subject. Fifth, the source of strength of the relations between Korea and then the United States. That was the fifth subject. And then I'm telling you, in the sense that there are 5 separate subjects, and then as an ambassador, I have an opportunity to speak in various different opportunities, and then I take 17 minutes for each and every one of those 5 subjects. And I was listening to the speaker, and then he covered all those 5 subjects within 17 minutes. I just wonder how he does it, right? And then, what is my conclusion? Well, that's why he was the speaker. So let's give him another big applause. So let me cover just one subject which has been out of the 5, which has been mentioned by the speaker, and then that is about unification. And then I think all of you would agree with me in the sense that unification is an issue of paramount importance for Korea. Why? Because it is almost the only divided country for the time being. But somehow, discussion on the issue of unification, that in fact has been rather dormant in Korea, up until early this year. And then early this year, my president, President Park Geun-hye, she in fact was making a New Year's speech, and then in that New Year's speech, she began to talk about, which is now very well known even in Washington D.C., which is unification bonanza. And then apart from which is the best translation into English language, what she said in the Korean, well, as a matter of fact, that statement of hers, which was made at the start of this year, it in fact brought renewed interest in this very important issue called unification. And then that is the reason why we are seeing so many debates, discussions, seminars, etc., in Korea. And I think we, in fact, are importing some of the heat or renewed interest in the issue of unification here in Washington, D.C. So I guess there are a large number of seminars being held in Washington, D.C. as well. Personally, this is the 3rd seminar I'm coming to attend. The first one, it was co-sponsored between, let me try to think, SAIS of Johns Hopkins University and Presidential Commission of Economic Advisors coming from Korea. That was the first one I came to attend. Second one, it was co-sponsored between CSIS in Washington and a couple of government-affiliated think tanks in Korea. That was the second one. And then this is the third one. And on my way here, I was telling myself, third time charm, third time luck. Why do I say that? It's because this one, which is being held between KI in Washington, D.C. and Korean American Club in Korea, I think this seminar, the 3rd seminar I'm attending, somehow in my observation, it distinguishes itself from the 2 previous seminars I attended, as well as other seminars we find here in town. Why do I say that? At least 3 reasons why I think this particular seminar, you are very lucky. You're coming to the best one. why I think this seminar distinguishes itself from 2 other seminars. The first reason why I think it does is because of participants. Because of the participants. And of course we have heard about all those very influential politicians coming from the United States. Speak Hastert, and that Honorable Manzullo, who used to be chairman of a very powerful committee in the House, which is Subcommittee on Asia and Pacific, East Asia and Pacific affairs. And then later today, we are going to hear from Senator Lugar, who used to be the chairman of a Senate Foreign Relations Committee. So it's just amazing. I mean, having all those highly respected politicians coming from the United States to share their views with us on this important subject of unification. They are not only highly respected politicians in this country, but as we already heard from Speaker Hastert, they are strong friend and supporter of relations between Korea and the United States. That's from Washington, D.C. What about from Korea? David Pong, I don't think it's an exaggeration at all to say David Pong has been the most influential journalist of our time, of my time. I mean, if somebody comes in and then asks me, who among the journalists who have been active over the past several decades, who would you say would be the most influential one? I wouldn't wait a minute. I wouldn't hesitate a minute in saying David Pong. So he is here, one of the most influential journalists of our time. But look at him. He looks like a young man. I don't know how he manages it, but after all these years, he looks like a young man. And I have to say the same thing with respect to Moon Chang-gu. Well, this is something I have already told Mr. Moon, which is that I used to be a young diplomat back in early 1990s. And at the time, Mr. Moon used to be an equally young journalist covering for Chunwang Daily here in Washington, D.C. And then it was the very early years of North Korean nuclear issue. And then I, in fact, was the officer in charge of North Korean nuclear issue in early 1990s. And then I was reading articles in Chunwang Daily written by Moon Chang-gu, and I said to myself, well, in fact, Mr. Moon, he in fact has a perspective on this issue, which as a diplomat, which as a government official, I do not easily come by. So that insight, and then as a matter of fact, from his writings, it was very palpable how strongly he supports the relationship between Korea and the United States. And then he has been very consistent, even persistent, in sharing his views about the importance of relationship between Korea and the United States. And then I have to say the same thing with respect to Kim Seung-yeon, with respect to Mr. Lee Do-hoon, who in fact are taking over as a younger generation from David Pong as well as Moon Chang-gu. So there is my first point. I'm going to look at the participants we have today. And then in fact, because of the participants, I think this seminar distinguishes itself. That is the second reason why I think this is a unique seminar. And then the second reason is the kind of impact it will have, likely impact it will have upon Korean society. When I look about the Korean society, I always tell myself there are three important layers of actors in the Korean society. First one, of course, first tier, policymakers, right? Second tier, opinion makers. Third tier, grassroots. And I told you about Presidential Commission on Economic Advisors. I told you about government-affiliated think tanks. And I think they may have impact upon policymakers. They may have impact upon opinion makers. But when it comes to grassroots Korean citizens, who will have the best impact, who will have the most, effective impact? Wouldn't you agree it will be the news media, right? And then as I already told you, from the Korean side, it is the Korean-American Club. For those of you who are not familiar with the Korean-American Club, Korean-American Club is an association of journalists which foreign minister and even prime minister in Korea, they try to make a point of never missing that event. So that's a very influential, say, association of journalists back in Korea. So you can count on me when I say what we are hearing today, it in fact will have the best chance of reaching the citizens on the Korean street, the grassroots people. So that is the second reason why I think this seminar really distinguishes itself from any other. My third and last reason why I really was impressed with this seminar is because of the questions which the panel are going to raise and discuss today. I read the flyer for this seminar very closely, and then it was raising three questions. First, for unification, what do we have to do? See? Very action-oriented question. It is not saying, what is the benefit of unification? What is the political benefit, economic benefit, strategic benefit? What it says is that, what do we have to do, right? Very action-oriented question. What was the second question in the flyer? The second question in the flyer was, what are the challenges we have to meet? And then again, it's a very action-oriented question. Why? Because when you ask what are the challenges, you wouldn't stop there. When you identify the